Hello, today we're going to be looking at this drum machine right here. It is the Barnes Mullins Percussionet 20. I've been doing this video over the last couple of months. In fact, if you followed on Patreon, you've basically seen all of this video already in January, just before I started the car, and in March. But whilst we're waiting for a few chunky parts to turn up for Big Bogey, we may as well get back on it and have a look at this project. So this is actually from the Stockdale collection. Remember all the self-playing vibraphones and things that are set up at the museum? Well, this was actually sat on top of one of the Theatron organs. When we got it from the Lucien Nunez Vaz collection in his warehouse, it was on one of the shelves and I had no idea what it was. None of us really knew. When you look at it, it doesn't immediately look like a drum machine. I mean, it does a bit. Like, it's got tempo on it, it's got a few different phrases and stuff, but it's not completely obvious. And it was only by a freak happenstance that I saw an eBay listing for a similar one. It was the first time I'd ever seen one other than this. And because there's no other wording or names on it, it was very hard to find out what it actually was. But the other one luckily had Barnes Mullins on the back. So there we go. I contacted Barnes Mullins, who are a music instrument distributor, and they were kind enough to send this piece of information back. It is a scan from their archives of the sales brochure page of this Percussionet 20. It's actually got quite a few interesting phrases on it, so let's get stuck in.
So this is how it turned up after being stored for a little while after the Stockdale setup, and as you can see, Mr. Stockdale actually painted over the rest of the name. This is why I struggled to find things on the internet, because he did a pretty good job and I didn't notice it was painted over. It only said percussion, not Percussionet 20. But now we're going to take it apart and have a look on the inside, and wow, some of it is actually strip board. You'll see that, which is the sequencer circuit board, is the strip board, and then that's that part over there, and then this other circuit board, which is actually glued in place with a bunch of other bits stuck and plonked all over the place. It is very much built in a small batch kind of fashion, but hey ho. We're going to replace the mains cable because it had a really weird connector, wire it to the transformer and see if it does anything.
First, let's see if it does anything. I'm going to plug it in right now. We'll see some magic smoke maybe. Ooh, there's nothing yet. It's completely dead. It's dead. Dead as a doorknob. See if we got any AC going through. No, nothing. Oh no, it's DC, that's why. Have we got any AC? We got voltage, but why is it not working? Let's find out. There's a rectifier here, so if I find ground, wherever it is, on this side of the capacitor, and measure on the other side of the rectifier, 18 volts. Right, so we've got 18 volts. I'm only assuming this light right here is supposed to do something, whether that's... Ah, there's a broken wire on the back of that light. Okay, well. Oh my God. Holy shit. It's working. Right, so have a listen. Right, you ready? Right, so turn on the bass drum. Oh, that's a chunky bass drum. Actually... Just been sat here pushing a few buttons around and trying to route some of the wires going here, there and everywhere. And I've come to the conclusion it's a little bit weird. But before we go fiddling around anymore and risk breaking it, let's put it back together and see what it's supposed to do. Having a look at the sales pitch, you've got 20 separate, completely mixable rhythms with instantaneous flick tabs to control literally millions of possibilities. 8 percussive instruments, those are over here, you can mute them. All silicon solid-state circuitry, no moving parts to wear out. On, off, hand or foot switch starts rhythms, we're going to look at that in a bit. Variable tempo control. May be played through any amplifier. Ooh. Suitable for 110 volts or 240 volts. Slim and flat design, each unit stands comfortably on a piano or organ, enabling a musical rest to be pieced on top of the desired, I can't read it in time, robust, durable, simulated wood grain finish, which Mr. Stockdale has painted over the top of, sadly, and it's a lot of work to get that off. We're going to leave it with the black. I love this bit. It says flick tab preset for 20 individual rhythms plus unlimited permutations. However, they do say millions of patterns at the top, so unlimited, millions, ooh, you decide. Anyway, let's have a listen, shall we? So if I push down a bunch of the instruments, oh, we got the rolling, so you could just get the manual roll. So foxtrot. So this one's quick step 1 and then quick step 11 apparently. Ooh. Okay. We got Mark. Oh yeah. On to shuffle. Exactly the same nearly. And then do the twist. Dixieland. The green in a sec. Yeah, 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 the green. Oh, oh. Cha-cha-cha. Oh. To the tango. Without fail, it always sounds so good. It's always sounded so good, bossa nova. We got rumba next. To the samba. Don't forget about the mambo. Change the tone. The tone's quite interesting. Now we can start bringing in different patterns and mixing them together. Apparently there's an unlimited permutations. Unlimited permutations. Unlimited permutations. Somehow turning it off. Got a roll now. Turn off some. Clicking random ones now. Looking on the inside again, it's obviously quite a labour-intensive thing to build these things back in the day. Gosh knows how many units of these were built, but it's just built in such an funky way. For instance, the circuit with the drum voices is this one on the back. Annoyingly, it's actually glued in place. The back board is glued on, so I can't actually get to it. Luckily, nothing's broken on that because it's nearly impossible to take that apart to do any repairs without cutting cables and potentially cracking it off of the wood, which is somewhat mad. It's all very question inducing. I'm going to plug it in. We've got an oscilloscope right here. We're going to have a poke around and see if we can find the sequencer clock and go from there. The other thing to bear in mind is it currently works, and this is, as far as I'm aware, the only video of the internet of one of these drum machines running, so we'll be good to keep it running as long as possible, because I know there's a bunch of you saying, oh, modify it, let's circuit bend it, which I'd love to, but you know, it might be a bit of a gem. Right, let's plug this cheeky What's-It into some things and see what happens. This circuit board right here is a clock dividing circuit board. Right at the top, we've got the highest clock. We got still figuring out where the actual clock's coming from. So we got a clock there, and then we go to the next connection, which is half that. Same again, and then we go half, and then we're going to go half again in a sec. And then we go half again. Then we have the sequencer here. So the clock goes into the sequencer. That's the clock. Bogies. 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 What I'm assuming is this sequencer and this clock divider gets mixed via this absolute mishmash of cables going over to all of the different switches to make the patterns. So the patterns are an amalgamation of the clock dividing circuit dividing down and go burp, burp, or burp, burp, and then this sequencer that seems to have a bunch of resistors sticking out of it into different outputs. So you've got a merge of multiple different patterns that all go off to their own switches. It looks at these wires here going off this bit. This loom is the actual trigger. This is the actual thing that's triggering the drums. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 drums or something. I think a cool thing to do, because obviously the drums, they sound the same as all the other drums, we could just put jack sockets on the back of it till the cows come home. I'm gonna try and see if the LED lights up. Hey! Doesn't seem to affect the sound. You're able to make fills. So however it works, oh no, this is so tempting to modify to absolute fudge and back. Oh. In this video, we're going to focus on the sync input because that's the most important part for us right now. So let's find it. What we don't know is the schematic, but what we do know is there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 identical circuits that basically take the really fast pulse from over here, the brrr, that half, this circuit here halves that, then this one goes to. So these are bringing it all down. This right here, this circuit over here is the clock. This is the thing that makes the whole drum machine play. Basically, that's the thing that goes brrr, and it's really quite quick. In fact, I reckon there's a way we can listen to it. One second, I think the clock is right here. Oh. Now, obviously, that is a very quick clock. It's almost audio rate. It's almost completely audio rate. If we go down that divider circuit, we could go more sub-octaves. We're getting lower and lower until we get to the lowest. That is the resolution of the drum machine sequencing setup. And from experience, it's really hard to get one of these with such a quick clock to run in time with other machines, because you've got to get bang on the first clock or it isn't in time at all, and it proves to be a bit of a nightmare. So another option we have is we could go further down the clock dividing train here, which is quite a nice speed, and what we can do is we can use this clock, this one. We can use that clock to sequence other things. So we can plug this straight into a sequencer, for instance. That's the best bet with having some quick fun, is wiring a jack socket into this. Yeah, let's go. So I think for having the most fun with the least amount of headaches is using this as the master clock to be able to control things. Having this controlled by other things is not impossible, but it becomes extremely finicky because the resolution of the drum clock on this is so high. I'm not finding a reset circuit and perfectly getting it working with start and stop commands from other items. It's a bit of a pain. We're going to go with having a clock out from this for now and go from there. So I have wired this jack socket connecting to, I've got to watch out because there's actually mains still going in here. I've got to stop forgetting. That is connected to this clock divider circuit. I haven't got any buffer in it. We'll see if this causes any problems, and if not, we'll be okay. Let's just see what happens. And let's try and plug this into a sequencer, and see what happens. There's the kick. Let's go for a quicker clock. There we go, this is the one. There we go. I'm going to put a hole in the back of it to put the jack socket in, plock it in, and we're going to see if we can get some music out of it. Underneath this mush of wires is a sequencer that is being triggered via the cable that is coming from that sync output that we put from the drum machine. So the drum machine is syncing this, and that is sequencing the bass line that's going on over here. If we turn on the bass line, so the drum machine is sending clock pulses to make this do this. Let's get it different. There we go. Just needed a little bit of shifting around. The thing with unlimited permutations is a lot of it doesn't match, but enough of it will. There we go. hope you enjoyed this. I'm very tempted this week to actually turn this into a sort of lunetta machine, a really interesting sequencer. I'm really tempted to break out all of the wiring and get a front panel and turn it into a bit of a flashing show with a bunch of banana connectors so we can use this to sequence loads of other things. Comment below if you think that's what I should be doing this week, because I very much might do. Likewise, there's a direct recording on Patreon that you can download of every single drum loop and a bunch of the permutations, and you can use those to your heart's content. And there's also the full jam from the end of the video over on Patreon as well. And like always, I'm Look Mum No Computer. This is the Percussionet 20. Below, see, don't forget to subscribe, don't be scared to try it.